Our budget intro today, guys. So we're going to talk about the Roland MV30 Studio M. I'll get some more light over here. Video on the sound module of this thing before, but I wanted to talk about the sequencer, so that's what I'm going to do today in this budget 12-bit jungle out there video. Alright, so let me set up some light here so we can see this thing. Alright, so here we go, we've got some light. This here is the Roland MV30 Studio M. I did a video on this a while back, but I was talking about the sound module. Now I'll just remind us, I'll just remind us about the sound module here. So it has the sound module of the Roland U220, which shows up on the, sorry, let me just turn this synth down here, shows up on the Prodigy equipment list. That's what made me want to get it, because it's got some old school sounds in it, and that's my vibe. And someone round the corner to me was selling this thing for 50 Australian dollars. She didn't know if it worked. It had a dodgy floppy in it, which I've spent a bit more, and I've put a Gotek in it, but that's just because, you know, I like to look after these things and give them their best shot in life. But yeah, I did a video, we talked about the sound module, so I'll put a link to that somewhere. But yeah, for ages I'd wanted to have a go at the sequencer, and I finally got a chance. I'm going back a good few months now. Actually, this is my little sort of analog mess about bench, and I haven't really had a chance to use it. I've just been too busy with other stuff, but I will. But I'm just going to demonstrate the sequencer. While I was having a look on YouTube, I couldn't find anyone apart from I think it's this Italian guy who's sort of programming it, but he's a really good keyboard player, and you know, he's not making dance music. I don't suppose this was ever designed for dance music, but it was like the idea was that it was an all-in-one studio. I'm not going to go over all the features. I'm just going to show you what I found and how I found that, you know, a fun way to use the thing. Just a little side note here. So I probably mentioned this in the last video I did on the sound module of this piece of kit, but I was just having a little look at these articles at work. I'll put these in the description. But it says here, I mean, for the time, it's actually quite, you know, quite the machine really for all of the things that it could do in one little box. Actually, look, let me just run you through these. So it says here, and where is it now? What I was looking at is about the filter section. So, as I said before, it says that the sound source is based on the Roland's U20 and U220 RS-PCM sample playback unit, but it adds the what was new at the time, the digital filter that Roland had put in the S770 and D70 synth. You know, that's a classic sampler in itself there. That's interesting. You know, so you like, there's a little list at the bottom here. Let me just scroll down. Oh no, it's not this one, it's this one here. So yeah, it gives you a little shopping list down here of the different items you might want to get yourself close to this piece of kit. So you got a U220, D70, MT32, a sequencer, and some software for your sequencer. So all in all, you're looking at like, oh look, there's a nice little inflation calculator right there. So you would have been looking at close to, in today's money, £9,000 to get something close to that. Whereas this thing shipped at, I think it was 1,500 when it came out. And just on the Prodigy side of things, in terms of the sound module and the U220, it says here, right, there was a little thing, Liam's favourite sounds, with the strings and the piano and a few others that he used on Experienced and the Jilted albums. And he says here that G-Force, what was this? G-Force, Everybody in the Place and Outer Space used A58 soft pad. I'll have to check if that's in here. I don't know. You can add these cards to it as well. I've only bought one, but you can smash these cards in there that have different libraries of sounds. But what's he saying here? Those are my favourite strings. Oh, here we go. Like, this was the bit that I read. It says here that he bought the Roland U220 sound module and a 909 drum machine, and he wrote a track where he was basically just trying out the sounds on the U220, and it was just supposed to be, something that he was testing the sounds with, but it turned out to be G-Force. So yeah, go and have a listen to that, and you'll be hearing the U220 sounds there. But yeah, like I say, I'll chuck these in the description. You can have a read yourself. But yeah, interesting. Like, what a beast of a machine. If you think about it, back in the day, having all of that in one box would have been quite revolutionary. But anyway, back to the video. Things to note. There's no swing on this thing, so everything's very straight. It's the same as this here drum machine I've got. It's very straight. But, you know, yeah, there is a way, I thought, you know, that I could get round that. You can offset the quantize, but I've experimented with it and it didn't really, it didn't have the desired effect. So yeah, the way I'll get round it, if you know, when I get round to doing something, is I'll use sampled beats, you know, and chop it up like I would a jungle track. I've got this bench hooked up to my sampler rack here as well, and I'll show you something that I did. So right now this track's pretty much a housey sort of vibe, early housey vibe, as you heard before, but I did try it and do a little bit of jungling with this before I moved studio. Anyway, so let's have a look at this. What have I got going on here? So can we see that? So we've got this panel over here where you pretty much drive the thing, right? So if I go here, load disk, takes you to this page here, right? And you can load a song, right? So this is my Mr. Fingers tribute here, right? So I just hit load. Am I sure? Yeah, I'm sure. We're gonna load it, right? And then it does its business. All right, so now we've got our song in there, right? Then this is what I've found. So if I go down here, you got these two different modes. You've got track and pattern. Now it's been a minute since I've done this, and I've just jumped in to do this video, so I'm probably going to fumble over a few things. But what I found was, and I can't remember which is which, But yeah, no, I think it's pattern. Pattern is like, it's almost like a clip on Ableton. So you can make a pattern and then just bring it in to any track throughout your arrangement, you know. So I could, like, you know, have a collection of patterns, and as I'm going through my track arranging it, I could, you know, I can go, oh yeah, that one, and bring it in. So that's kind of nice little feature. But for this kind of thing, this is what I found, right? So I wanted something that, you know, I could just slave a few things through to. I've got the this drum machine slaved to the MV30. Obviously the TD3 is slaved. What am I doing? There's some MIDI going to the micro brute there, and the Poly 800. Yeah, and I've got a little MIDI keyboard up here. So that's one of the internal sounds. The way this works, you've got, I don't know, can you see that? Yeah. So you've got like 1 to 8 are internal sounds. I think that's right. 1 to 8, and then you've got external sounds, which can obviously be assigned to any MIDI channel available. And the volumes on here, it's a bit dusty in it, I've got to clean it. The volumes on here control, you know, 1 to 9, and when you hit shift, sorry, 1 to 8, and when you hit shift, you're controlling 9 to 16, and you've got mutes along here as well, so you can mute stuff out and bring stuff in and out with the faders. What I want to say here, so over here you can assign it to play in a loop. You've got different options here for recording, basically. As you see that, all these are different options, and yeah, it took me a while to find this, but basically you can set up to a 16 bar loop. Yeah, this one is just 4 bars for now. This was my experiment. And what you can do is just get it in record mode. If I hit record here, actually, we'll go back to the beginning first. Let's cancel that. Shift and rewind takes it back to the beginning of the sequence. All right. And then if I hit record and press play, now I'm like looping around, right? Crap, wait, let's reset this drum machine, 1 second. Yep, that's ready to go. Let's try that again. Yep. So what we've got there is a chord from the internal, it's an internal chord sequence going there. Alright. You got the micro brute there playing the bass, but of course, yeah, TD3 is going as well. And on this drum machine, I can sort of flick around the patterns, you know, so you can have a bit of a jam and sort of create an arrangement, you know. Now I'm going to hit that again so it's not recording as I play stuff, you know, so you can do some live stuff over the top. Yeah, you know, bring in your bass line, get the beat happening, you know. So yeah, you can use it as a bit of a jam tool like that, you know, that's fun. Me and my daughter have been jamming with this and having a great time. I mean, I could sit for hours doing this stuff, it's so much fun, you know. Take that out, bring in this bass line. Take this out, bring in some percussion there. So that's that. Now let's have a quick look. Let's stop this a second, see if I can remember how to so that's in the real-time record. So there's, oh, can't see it now, can we? So yeah, that's real-time record. Now oh my god, I can't remember. So here, let's have a little look through here. Yeah, so look, can you see when you get to 9 it says external, yeah, and I think it's one of these buttons here, I think track parameters. Let's try it. Look, we'll go in there and it says external on. Actually, I remember last time I booted this up I had to get the manual out to find out, geez, I don't know what that was, to find out where I needed to go to actually assign the MIDI channel. Sheesh, let's see if I can find it. Record parameters, channelize, there you go. Right, so if we go over here to channelize, so you can assign what MIDI channel that's coming through. All right, so that's real time, you know. So you would get your track going, you know, if you wanted external MIDI, you select it, and then real time record, you hit record and you're off. Like, it's going to start recording whatever you do. So there's that way of recording, but then there's also this microscope, and as you can see there, it's very much like the Cubase, oh geez, what is it, the grid. Yeah, it's like the Cubase 1 grid view. So obviously, like, you know, what we've got there is each note input across the bar, or I guess whatever range you've selected, maybe that's across those 4 bars. But you can see there, it says what MIDI channel, it says the note, it's got the velocity, and the gate is the length of the note. So you can go in there, you can actually do like a step recording type thing. Let's just come back here a little bit. So I don't know if you can see there, there's note values above each of these keys. So depending on what note value you select, like say I select, you know, 16th notes and then tap in a hi-hat, it will put hi-hats in on 16th notes in the editor there. So that's another way you can record. Good for, you know, breaks, if you're doing amen breaks and you want to sort of like input stuff, you could do it real quick like that, you know, kind of how you would do it on an Amiga in a block. All right, so I'm back. I've had a little think. I've got my little pad out here, so I'd written down what samplers and bits I'd used for the different arrangements. So yeah, I thought I'd have a go at trying to do some jungle on it. Very basic at the moment. What I've got is a pad that I sampled from the JV 1080 into the Emu, and it's pitched way down, and there's just an amen and some other sounds inside there. So pretty much everything that you hear is coming from the Emu in this one. I called it jungle because, yeah, it's jungle. Anyway, and I've got a bit of a bass thing on the micro brute here. And that's pretty much it. Now, what I did with this one, instead of having a loop, I thought I'd have a go at arranging something. Now I'll show you how I did that. So I started off with an 8-bar loop, you know, by changing this here. You just do it by this wheel here, jog wheel. You change that to your different you know, record modes. Started off with a loop, and then what you can do is you go into edit here, takes you into this page where you've, sorry about that, phone ran out of space. Where was I? Yeah, so you've got options to do things like copy paste and that. So as I was saying before, this is where you can bring, like, you know, a pattern that you've made, you know, be it a bass line, a break sequence, whatever, and you can just bring it into the arrangement. That's a nice little tool. There's that's another thing, like for jamming, there's like a RPS mode where it will, you know, you can assign a pattern to a MIDI key. So if I'd, yeah, you know, got some sort of top line, or you know, something that I'd made, you can assign it to a MIDI key and it will play that pattern from that MIDI key. So you could incorporate that in that, you know, jam mode like I was doing before, and build up, you know, a whole arrangement like that. Yeah, in here I did my 8-bar loop and then basically hit copy track to track, and here's where you can select, you know, if it's just one instrument you want to copy or the whole arrangement, and you choose like from what measure, you know, where to start and where to finish from, and at what point you'll paste it. And I just built up the arrangement like that, just bringing in things, dropping them out, real simple at the moment. You know, and that's one of those things, like someone had said how, commented on an old video saying how, you know, it's not the sequencer that influences the sound of the music you're making, it's the equipment. But I would argue that different sequencers are gonna push you into doing things the way that they're designed to work, you know. Like, I mean, the TD3 or the 303, you know, the original piece of kit is a perfect example of that, because I doubt that anyone, well, definitely not in dance music, you know, back in the day, it wasn't like they were you know, programming. What came out of the thing is not what they put in. Do you know what I mean? It's, yeah, you just sort of forced into just getting whatever the machine puts out and getting all those happy mistakes, you know. And with something like this, like I wasn't I mean, because I'm new to it as well, and I've since sort of found out ways to get a bit more complex, but I wasn't really inspired to chop the breaks that much. Whereas like if I was using Octamed, I'm going to be dicing those things up and spitting out all sorts of business, because it's really easy to do on there. Whereas this one, yeah, it sort of doesn't lend itself to that, but as a result you get a different outcome. Anyway, waffle, that's just my thoughts here. So yeah, copy, paste, arrangement. I'll just give you a blast on what I've got. Like I say, that goes back to the beginning, and let's hit play. For sweeps, actually. Deal. There you go. Oh, it's a bit loud. I can't remember what channel that's coming in there. So yeah, everything's kind of running through that bad boy. And what you're hearing is pretty much all this. mind chucking one of these out, grab it. You can make music with it. Right? And then if you can make music with it, you know, it's worth saving. That's my opinion anyway. I think I suffer from a condition. I'm going to call it BS. BSS. Backup sequencer syndrome. I just can't have enough of them. Yeah. What are these say? Oh, I stopped it. Well, anyway, look, there you go. So that's that. Look, and there's all your sequences, you know, depending on what track. Let's go over there. Look, I mean, I can scroll through that. And that, can I change the track? Let's try that. There you go. Look, let's change the track to something else. Who knows? Let's go up there. So 9 was the Amen. I think obviously this is all external. There you go, there's that pad. And it's just going to go through the whole, each measure. Let's go up to the next one. See if we can find that bass. There you go. Yeah, so that's where you can get in and edit. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I didn't want to waffle on too much, and like I said, it's a bit of a quick video, low budget, no messing about. I just wanted to get it done. What I'll do is, I'll actually, there's a little heads up there. I think I might skip the Patreon thing. I just don't think I can be consistent enough for you guys to keep it worth your while being on there. And I recently set up that little web page mostly to host my mixes, because it was just like a lot cheaper than putting them on SoundCloud or Mixcloud, you know. And it's just there, like, obviously they're on YouTube, and if you want to go and listen outside of YouTube, just chuck your phone in your pocket and listen, then you can do it through the website. But yeah, anyway, long and short of it, yeah, I might skip the Patreon and just like start putting stuff up on the web page for you guys. I did put a sample pack out for the sounds in this thing. I might do another one for this video, we'll see. But yeah, let's play out on the jungle track.